At the heart of the ruins of the old republican world, Rome still breathes the smoke of the civil wars. Caesar's blood has not yet dried in people's memories. The old senators tremble at the mention of Philippi, of Actium, of the proscriptions where names vanish beneath the sword. The most powerful city on earth has just saved itself by delivering itself to a single man. Augustus grips in his hand the proconsular imperium, extended over the provinces rich in soldiers, those where the legions are camped. He also holds the tribunician power, the tribunicia potestas, that sacred cloak that allows him to summon the people, to propose, to oppose, to be inviolable. He does not wear the crown, but he commands the armies, controls the finances, presides over destinies. Rome believes it sees a first among equals. In truth, it bows before a princeps. Around him, the old gentes of the aristocracy reorganize themselves. Two lineages stand out, raised like two columns destined to bear the imperial edifice, the gens Julia and the gens Claudia. The Julii, Caesar's race, children of Aeneas, nourished on the myth of Venus. The Claudii, ancient, hard, from the deep Latium, forged in the discipline of the camps and the severity of tradition. Between these two houses, Augustus weaves an alliance of blood. Intermarriages, adoptions, promises whispered in the shadow of the Palatine. From this fusion, a new lineage is born, the Julio-Claudian dynasty, destined to rule from one sea to the other. The years pass. Augustus grows old, fades away, becomes a god. Another advances to take up the burden, Tiberius, of the gens Claudia, but enshrined in the blood of the Julii through adoption. An austere soldier, a victorious general, but a dark soul, withdrawn, heavy with resentments and suspicions. He comes to the throne in 14 AD. At first, he governs. Then, mistrust eats away at him. Accusations of treason multiply. Trials for lèse-majesté follow one after another, like storms that break out without warning. In 26, Tiberius turns his back on Rome. He leaves the eternal city and withdraws to a rock lost in the middle of the waves, Capri. There, between sea and cliffs, he raises an invisible court. Around him, the walls close in. At the heart of this isolation, a man rises out of the shadows, Lucius Aelius Sejanus, Praetorian prefect. He commands the guard that protects the emperor, but casts his nets over the Senate, over the families, over the future. Year after year, Sejanus concentrates power, directs the purges, eliminates rivals. Rome begins to whisper his name in fear. Then, suddenly, in 31, fate turns. Tiberius, warned, takes revenge. Sejanus is seized, judged, broken. His body, once powerful, swings at the end of a rope. The message is clear. Power belongs to no one but the old emperor retired on his island. Through his father, Germanicus, he descends from Drusus the Elder, the conqueror who fell too soon, and from Antonia the Younger, daughter of Mark Antony and Octavia, sister of Augustus. Germanicus was adopted by Tiberius in the year 4, raised to the rank of son, placed at the center of the succession. Handsome, loved by the people, adored by the soldiers, he is the dream of a peaceful empire. Through this glorious father, the child Gaius finds himself propelled into the burning orbit of power. Through his mother, Agrippina the Elder, his roots go deeper still. She is the daughter of Marcus Vipsanius Agrippa, Augustus's right hand, and of Julia, Augustus's own daughter. Thus, through his maternal blood, the newborn is the direct great-grandson of the first princeps. In his veins flow the interwoven rivers of the Julii and of Augustus's allies. Into this small, fragile body, Rome deposits its hopes and its fears. Very quickly, Gaius's childhood leaves the marbles of Antium for the mud of Germany. Germanicus, appointed general, leads the legions beyond the Rhine. We are between 14 and 16. The camps smoke with embers, the tents flap in the rain of the north. The Germanic forests rise like black walls. In the midst of cuirasses and spears, a child runs. He wears a miniature armor, a small sword, soldiers' sandals, Caligula. The legionaries see him, laugh, grow attached to him. They give him a nickname, half tender, half familiar. Caligula, little sandal. The sobriquet clings to his skin like an omen. Later, when poets and historians set it down in writing, this childhood name will replace his man's name. Around him, the siblings spread out, large, scattered, already marked by the shadow of destiny. Nero Julius Caesar, the eldest. Drusus Julius Caesar, another brother promised two honors. Agrippina the younger, future mother of Nero, already with a sharp gaze and an iron will. Julia Drusilla, whom Gaius cherishes above all. Julia Livilla, more discreet, but beautiful and dangerous in the eyes of chroniclers. And a brother who died so early that his name is lost in the divergences of ancient sources.
A litter of wolf cubs raised at the heart of the palace, but doomed to the forest of intrigues. Germanicus, meanwhile, bears the weight of glory. In Germania, under Tiberius's wary gaze, he leads campaigns. He tries to wipe away the affront of Varus, to erase the memory of the legions massacred in the marshes of Teutoburg. He burns villages, drives back the tribes, brings back the lost eagles. The soldiers love him with a fierce devotion. The people of Rome acclaim his name. But the old princeps cannot endure stars that shine too brightly. In 17, Tiberius recalls his adopted son. Germanicus leaves for the east, charged with missions, investigations, governorships. He leaves the misty plains for incense-laden cities, the temples of Asia, the palaces of Syria, the markets of Antioch see his figure pass by. Gaius, still a child, follows in spirit, but remains in his mother's care, under the protection of the name. Then comes 19. In Antioch of Syria, Germanicus falls ill. Fever? Poison? Curse? People whisper that Gnaeus Calpurnius Piso, governor of Syria, instrument of shadowy forces, orchestrates his downfall. The beloved general dies far from the Tiber. Rumor swells, rolls along the roads, crosses the seas, bursts at the gates of Rome. Agrippina the elder returns, draped in black, bearing her husband's ashes. Behind her, her children, including little Gaius, walk at the heart of a silent procession. The people crowd together, weep, growl. They seek culprits. Piso is tried, driven to the wall. He kills himself, according to Tacitus. But the wound does not close. Between Agrippina and Tiberius, the conflict becomes an ember that smolders and waits only for a breath. The years 23 to 31 lay out for Caligula's family a path of torment. In 23, Drusus the younger, Tiberius's biological son, dies in turn. With his disappearance, the sons of Germanicus rise higher in the firmament of succession. Higher, therefore more exposed to the lightning. Relations between Tiberius and Agrippina deteriorate. Tacitus recounts the reproaches, the anger, the suspicions. The emperor withdraws further. The widow of Germanicus rears up, fiercely defending the honor of her blood. At the end of the 20s, repression falls. Between 29 and 33, the wave of exiles shatters the house of Germanicus. Agrippina the elder is sent to an island, Pandateria, that wind-beaten rock where Augustus's own daughter, Julia, had already atoned for her faults. Her eldest sons, Nero Julius Caesar and Drusus Julius Caesar, are deported in turn to Pontia and elsewhere.
The islands become living tombs. One by one, they disappear. Nero dies around 31, broken by hunger, despair, and his guards. Drusus fades away around 33, eaten away by injustice. Agrippina dies the same year, emaciated, defeated, but not submissive. On these lost rocks, the brilliantly born lineage collapses. Only one son of Germanicus remains in Rome, like a survivor chosen by an ironic god, Gaius, the youngest. He is spared. Why? Out of calculation, out of cruelty, out of need for a pawn. He is placed in the care of Antonia Minor, his grandmother, a woman of stern rectitude, respected even by Tiberius. Young Caligula thus grows up in the heart of Rome, in a house whose walls had seen the triumphs of Augustus and the shames of Antony pass by. But everything is under surveillance. Every gesture is watched. The child learns to keep silent. In 31, fate tears him once again from his home. He is taken to Capri, the island where Tiberius has shut himself away with his fears and his pleasures. There, in the white light of the cliffs, Gaius joins the invisible court of the emperor. Suetonius and Tacitus mention him. He is neither hostage nor free. He is a possible heir, but without title, without offices. At his side, another grandson of the empire, Tiberius Gemellus, son of Drusus the Younger, shares the same uncertainty. The days on Capri are a silent ordeal. There, every word can condemn. Gaius understands this. The ancient sources say that he adopts total obedience, perfect dissimulation. He smiles when he must smile. He approves without flinching. He never protests. Tiberius's eyes rest on him, heavy with mistrust, perhaps with hatred. But Gaius lets nothing show. He becomes a mask, a smooth surface over a burning heart. On this island, another man watches over the balance of power. Naevius Sutorius Macro, new Praetorian prefect, successor to Sejanus. Macro knows where his power comes from. He holds the guard, controls transitions, waits for the moment when the old emperor will have to leave his place to someone. He senses that Gaius might be the instrument of a transition without chaos. Between Capri and Rome, he in turn weaves his own threads. The seasons turn, the years pass. Then comes March 37. Tiberius is in Misenum, on the shore of the Campanian Sea. He is about 78 years old. His body is worn out, his soul burdened. On March 16th, he dies.
Some will speak of natural death. Others will murmur the name of Macro, that of Caligula. The versions differ. What remains is the date, the place, and the sudden void at the summit of the empire. His will is opened. The words of the dead man designate two co-heirs, Gaius Caligula and Tiberius Gemellus. Two branches of the same root, two figures still young. But Rome does not want a division. The Senate hesitates, trembles, looks to the street, listens to the army. Macro acts. Public opinion, starved for a beloved prince, turns to the son of Germanicus. The Senate, pressured by acclamations, by the Praetorian Guard, by political obviousness, yields. Gemellus withdraws into the shadows. Caligula is lifted alone on the shield. Gaius Julius Caesar Germanicus then takes another name, longer, heavier, carved away upon the centuries. Gaius Julius Caesar Augustus Germanicus. Each of these words recalls a mythical ancestor. Caesar, the stabbed shadow. Augustus, the deified founder. Germanicus, the beloved general. In a single phrase, the young princeps leans on the purest legitimacy a Roman could imagine. When he enters Rome, the city explodes. Crowds greet him, the temples open. Sacrifices smoke toward the gods. Cries rise from the streets, pass through the forums, crash against the facades of the basilicas. People think they see Germanicus again. They think they feel the clemency of Augustus. Senators hurry, vie in flattery, vote honors and powers. The Senate grants him the imperium, tribunician power. Later, he will receive the dignity of Pontifex Maximus. Everything seems to flow, natural, inevitable. Caligula, in these first months, knows how to give Rome what it expects. He annuls certain treason trials from Tiberius's reign. Men locked up for years come out of prison. Exiles return from the islands. Families weep in each other's arms. The moral ruins of the previous government seem to rise again. More than that, Gaius makes a strong gesture. He has the ashes of his mother Agrippina the Elder and of his brothers Nero and Drusus brought back. These ashes finally leave the solitude of the rocks, cross the sea, go up the Tiber. They are received with ceremony, carried to the places where the princes of the imperial house rest. This funeral procession, slow and solemn, reconciles in the eyes of many the son with the adoptive grandfather, the new princeps with the founder of the regime. In this momentum, Caligula distributes without counting. He offers congiaria, gifts of money, to the people. Ordinary men receive coins, thank the gods, acclaim the young emperor who opens the coffers of the palace. To the Praetorian Guard, he grants bonuses, sealing with gold the loyalty of the shields that surround him. Games surge forth like rivers suddenly unleashed. Ludi, gladiatorial combats, chariot races. The Circus Maximus screams with joy. Rome becomes intoxicated. He abolishes certain taxes that weighed on the citizens' shoulders. He promises to respect the prerogatives of the Senate, to listen to the advice of the elders, to govern in harmony with the institutions. He constantly invokes the memory of Augustus and Germanicus, has their faces, their names, engraved on the coins that circulate from Hispania to Syria. On the bronze and gold flans, his own profile is joined to that of his sisters, of his ancestors. The image of a young, merciful, generous emperor, respectful of traditions, spreads throughout the empire. In this atmosphere of hope, Gaius is already weaving his private ties. Marriages follow one another, rapid, blurred in the dust of time. Chroniclers do not agree on the exact order, but at the beginning of his reign, he is seen bound to Livia Orestilla, then to Lollia Paulina. These are unions of bedchambers and calculations, alliances that foreshadow an even more tormented marital dance. Officially, however, the facade remains perfect. Inscriptions, statues, coins present to the world the image of a young, merciful, prodigal emperor. Formulas of piety, justice, clemency are engraved. His family is shown, his sisters raised to the rank of dynastic icons. Rome, still marked by the shadows of Capri, believes it sees the dawn once more. Then, suddenly, the body of the princeps weakens. In the autumn of 37, just a few months after his accession, Caligula falls gravely ill. No one knows the exact disease. Fever, delirium, exhaustion? Suetonius and Cassius Dio note only the intensity of the crisis. In the palace, people whisper the worst. In the streets,
fear rolls like thunder. The Senate orders public prayers. The temples fill. Priests sacrifice bulls to the great gods, to the Lares, to the genius of the living emperor, hanging by a breath. The army formulates vows, promises games and offerings. The people spend entire nights in the sanctuaries, hands stretched toward the stone statues that watch over the city. Every morning, all eyes turn toward the Palatine. Will he live? Will he die?
Lest the young reign come to an end before it has even begun. The weeks stretch on. Then, slowly, Gaius rises again. The immediate danger recedes. The gods seem to have granted a reprieve. The city exults, but something has changed. In ancient accounts, from this illness onward, Caligula's face is altered. Decisions become more abrupt, more extravagant, more authoritarian. Expenses soar to dizzying heights. The first real clashes with certain senators emerge. On the surface, however, he is still consolidating his power. Macro, the Praetorian prefect who lifted him to the throne, occupies a central place in these initial months. He is the pivot between the palace and the Praetorian camp, between the prince and the armed force. But already, around them, the balance of power is shifting. The light surrounding Caligula dazzles, consumes, reveals. The princeps increasingly brings his family to the fore. His sisters, Agrippina the Younger, Julia Drusilla, Julia Livilla, receive unprecedented honors. Their portraits appear on coins. Their names are associated with that of the emperor. In ceremonies, they shine like minor stars beside the central sun. The imperial court is taking shape, thickening at its core. Around Gaius throng imperial freedmen, such as Helicon, Apelles, and others, whose presence troubles the nobles. Knights gain privileged roles. The old senatorial aristocracy feels its fingers slipping away from the lever of power. Outwardly, nothing has officially changed. The Senate still sits. The assemblies still meet. The garments of the Republic continue to cover the body of the regime. But beneath these draperies, reality asserts itself. Power returns, ever more clearly, to the person of the princeps alone. Augustus and Tiberius open the way. Caligula follows it, faster, more head-on, under the fascinated and already anxious gaze of the city. We are now at the beginning of the year 38. The breath of the illness is not forgotten. The gestures of clemency from the beginning mingle with the first flashes of sharp authority. Around the young master, faces freeze, tense, calculate. Macro himself, who raised this prince to power, begins to perceive that the favor of the gods is also a sword. Soon, very soon, the son of Germanicus will show how far he dares go in using the power he holds from the dynasty and from fear.